We'll talk about Newcastle Brighton, because that was a really entertaining game that had a lot of flashpoints, a lot of action, a couple of red cards in there for good measure as well. And yeah, an entertaining game that two teams really want to progress in a competition of. And obviously Newcastle have got the Carabao Cup to look forward to. But for Brighton, this win was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're another one that are building something massive and trying to get a platform and some recognition. And it does feel like sometimes there are some clubs that maybe have got a bit of a ceiling when it comes to their league performance, and you're not expecting them to go and get into the top four or challenge for the league title. And this is what the FA Cup should be for. This is what domestic cups are there for. Not to give the traditional top six another trophy in their cabinet, but actually to let someone else have their moment. And Brighton feel like they took that moment with both hands in this game. They really went for it. Yes, obviously the red card makes a difference, and the really fine margin of Newcastle's offside might make it a completely different story. But even through the game, Brighton really went at Newcastle, and moments of quality defined it. And that feels like Brighton's season, really. They're capable of such brilliant football, and they're capable of creating these chances and scoring these goals out of nowhere as well. And I feel like they're a really entertaining side to watch. This was another really good tie. And actually, I'm really glad they drew each other, because again, two sides that had potential to go deep in this cup.
I agree.
Maybe Newcastle had one eye on the Carabao Cup and probably had a bit less interest in this. But actually, I think any team that was still left in it would have looked around, seen all the people that had gone out of the competition and thought, right, we've got to go for this now.
Yeah.
And yeah, Newcastle will be disappointed, but Brighton, this is a huge chance for them.
It's huge, and they're having a good season. It feels like copy and paste of the Bournemouth conversation in some ways. They're having quite similar seasons, aren't they? And they've had their ups and downs, but they find themselves in a good position in the league, in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, and with a team and a squad that looks capable of doing well next season as well if they can consolidate. Now, granted, they've spent a lot of money. I think you forget that Brighton have actually invested a lot of the money they've earned from transfers in the last summer transfer window, and it's paying off. They don't just buy players on the fly. They do their research, and you can tell. And I still get surprised by the players that they keep producing, because they all prove to be so good. And even a signing like Yankuba Minteh, who scored against his old club with this muted celebration, which was bizarre considering he played. And did he play any minutes for Newcastle?
I don't think so.
But he's coming good. He's playing well. And Danny Welbeck lashing in the winner in extra time kind of symbolises how, I don't know, likeable they are as a club. He's kind of the figurehead of that. Is there any player that's even more likeable than Danny Welbeck in the Premier League right now?
Well, they've got James Milner as well, who I think's always had a pretty good reputation, hasn't he? Yeah, Brighton are a likeable team.
Former Leeds, Liverpool and Man City, James Milner.
You're probably talking to the wrong person for that, but yeah, hey, I think about his Villa days. Yeah, definitely. Brighton are kind of showing everyone why neutrals took such a shine to them in the first place. I think before this season, they've always been a side that we've kind of always had one eye on. And yeah, you appreciate the fact that they are able to redo their squad basically every year because someone gets pulled away from them. And then this year it felt like they were doing that, not because they'd lost players, but because they had the money to invest. They had a new young manager that they wanted to invest in, and they went out and backed Hurzeler. And if this is the fruit of that they go on a really good cup run, that's amazing for them. They aren't quite as swashbuckling as they were last season at times, but again, they're developing a really good reputation as a side who wants to play football. And they're still finding their identity under a new manager with a lot of new players in the squad. And that's why you've had these inconsistencies with them this season. I think at one point they'd won, drawn and lost the same amount of games in the league. But there is definitely a platform for them. And yeah, someone like Minteh is evidence of that. Newcastle kind of had to cash in on him to meet FFP regulations. Brighton saw a gap in the market. They went out and got him. And yeah, he looks brilliant. That looks like such a good acquisition for them. He took his goal incredibly well. He's having a great season. And we can say that about a lot of Brighton players, actually. They're having a great season.